channel, I don't care. But today, we do this on purpose. Okay? The police force in Hong Kong is completely under the command of the Chinese Communist Party. It's the tyranny, which is the existential risk of humanity. Understand this? Sorry? It's not just a bill. The bill has been withdrawn, right, if you have not mistaken. But the thing is, Hong Kong has changed. Hong Kong, we are fighting for freedom and survival, okay? And the world should know, if Hong Kong falls, the whole world falls.
Hey guys, welcome back to Resistance Chicks. We're your hosts, Leah and Michelle. The lovely Leah is actually wearing a very beautiful bright green shirt.
Am I?
And I am so pulling my hair out with the coloring here. She is not wearing this. It's literally like shamrock green, and I'm looking.
It's the color of my earrings, actually.
It's the brightest green ever.
Have picked up the right color, but this is green.
But so today she's wearing black. You do look very pretty today. It's totally green. I mean, pick up that family cow book. It's the color. No, the cow one. It's literally the color of that. Let's see what color it picks up. Now show them that color.
It's black.
Now put it real close. Wow, I have no idea what's going on with the coloring. I'm gonna work on it, but it's literally not the right color.
This family cow book is green.
It is a green book. Today is the 6th of October, 2019.
Colorblind.
Yeah, kind of. It's our Around the World in 2 hours show. We might make it a little bit shorter today because we ran late. I'm so sorry that we've been late lately.
Yeah, we've had a lot
later than normal.
Late. Yeah, don't, if you're going to take a little nap, don't slather yourself in like super calming essential oils. So it's just a bad idea. Have a lot of late nights and early mornings. That's what we do because we're out late and we're up early.
We party all night long. That's what we do. We party hardy
with four-legged creatures.
All
right, so
Chimeras.
We're gonna go. We got a lot to cover.
Yes.
There was a terror attack in France. They're not wanting to call it that, so they're being really cautious and saying a radical Islamist extremist killed 4 co-workers in a police station.
Yeah.
Right. So we're
like
gonna cover
that.
that. But I really want to dive right into this Hong Kong. It's still the what do you want to call it? The protests are still happening right now.
And it's been
they
elevated.
Have catapults. I'm not even kidding you. They have built a catapult out of bamboo. Let's listen to this Hong Kong protester talk about his desire for freedom. They are fighting for survival and trying to achieve what we have here in America.
I have a YouTube channel, I don't care. But today, we do this on purpose. Okay? The police force in Hong Kong is completely under the command of the Chinese Communist Party. It's the tyranny, which is the existential risk of humanity. Understand this? Sorry? It's not just a bill. The bill has been withdrawn, right, if you have not mistaken. But the thing is, Hong Kong has changed. Hong Kong, we are fighting for freedom and survival, okay? And the world should know, if Hong Kong falls, the whole world falls, okay? Because the Chinese Communist Party is the existential risk of humanity, period.
Well said. That was okay. And that's the thing. So we have somebody, I don't know if you guys have noticed, and Johnny, I will speak directly to you because he asked, don't you guys respond to comments? And Johnny has been leaving a ton of comments about Hong Kong, but his mindset is more of the mindset of those young people that we saw, that like he kind of agrees with us on almost every other subject except for the fact that China mainland, they're doing the right thing. Hong Kongese people are insane and all this, that, and the other. And you're always leaving all these comments, and my heart goes out to you. Okay. But it's something that I can't really explain to you, that in the westernized world, we can see what I think you guys in China, things are censored and you don't get to see the full picture. And we get that communism is actually evil at its very core because it strips away individual rights. And so when we look at the Hong Kong protesters, we see people wanting their individual rights, their individual sovereignty of life, and
not just their actions, but of their thoughts.
Yeah.
Of religion, of speech, of movement.
Yeah.
And all of that is taken away. If you live in mainland China, China has become a make-believe. We just watched Spider-Man. And
the newest one.
And spoiler alert, turn away.
You can't spoil alert
I
for
am
people.
spoiling alerting.
Okay.
Holograms are used. How about that?
Okay.
Holograms are used, and it's not what you think it is. So what the Chinese party has used is a hologram of a religion.
True.
And put inside these people's minds from the inception of childhood that we are all knowing. And they use holograms, and they use facial recognition, and they use technology to make it look like they are God.
Yeah.
To make it look like they are all-knowing. But guess what? God doesn't need holograms. He actually knows what's in your thoughts without going through your emails, without going through your texts, without overhearing conversations, okay? The real God is loving and kind and wants you to get up every day and do what you think is right, okay? We have in America life, liberty, and the pursuit of property, pursuit of happiness. And you do not have that in China because they are God. And that China one policy, China one mind. It's a hive mind. If you ever seen Star Trek, especially Deep Space Nine, they talk about the Borg a lot. The Borg are one mind, but it's ruled by one wicked queen.
Right,
okay,
right.
So you have China, and it's ruled by a handful of wicked people who tell everybody else that we know what's best for you.
Right.
Well, I'm going to tell you that you know what's best for you, and that's the difference.
I like it.
So here's the catapult made out of the bamboo. Whoa.
I hope you guys can see it. Yeah.
When you have an engineering degree and you become a protester. I'm not sure it went far enough.
They don't have any weapons. I mean, they've got nothing.
So we're going back to the Stone Ages.
What else did you want me to tag in this? I've got Hong Kong.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about Douglas Murray. We're going to Italy. Okay, so Hong Kong protesters build makeshift catapult on the third day of unrest over anti-mask law. Okay, and speaking of the anti-mask law, they have over here. They have created their own anti-fake facial recognition device. Here, look at this. Look at this anti-facial recognition device. There's really I don't think there's any sound to it. And give it a second. I'm going to make it small so you can kind of see how it works here.
Oh, wow.
It'll clear up. But it puts a different, like a face on your face. So you can go around without them finding who you are.
No way.
Yeah.
It's literally a holographic projection onto your face.
Right.
That the cameras cannot decipher the difference between that face and your face.
Right.
That's fascinating.
Face there.
That's fascinating. I wonder how much that tech costs to be able to have something like that, though.
I don't know, but the fire with fire, I guess, right?
Wow.
Carrie Lam's hoped that her new anti-mask edict would help quiet the protests unfortunately didn't pan out. Rather, in retaliation, the protesters took to the streets on Saturday and Sunday in another round of violent clashes with police. Sunday marked the third straight day of unrest and demonstrations over the mask ban. Many Hong Kongers took to the streets as soon as the ban was announced on Friday, and firms with a large presence in Hong Kong, including HSBC and Ernst & Young, warned employees to work from home on Friday and through the weekend. That proved to be a precedent decision, as in at least one incident, a group of protesters was filmed beating up a young JP Morgan banker who had the temerity to defend Beijing by shouting, "We are all Chinese."
Wow.
But here's the thing, and we do not condone violence of any kind on this show.
Right.
You have Antifa, you have bad people going in there, you like an Antifa type person when you get out of control. But at this point, it is kind of a war, and they see the bankers as sellouts to China. I'm explaining I'm not excusing it whatsoever. Anyway, according to the SCMP, two groups of protesters, many of them covering their faces in direct defiance of the mask bill, marched on routes from the East Point Road, blah, blah, blah.
So now if they see you in a mask, they can just come arrest you.
Yeah. After Hong Kong's entire MTR transit system was shuttered, I believe on Friday, maybe Thursday, due to these vandals, protesters came together and caused even more damage to the train stations on Sunday. At the Mong Kok station, a locus of violence and mayhem on Sunday, 3 black-wearing protesters smashed the CCTV cameras, spray-painted walls, and caused general mayhem. Others joined in and caused graffiti in the station here.
They've really built those strong, haven't they?
Yeah, those are not easy, I guess, to destroy.
Oh my gosh.
The extent of the damage throughout the evening was severe.
It feels like we're living in a movie of what's happening. I mean, with the surveillance and them being able to just track you down, and then the people fighting back. You know, I mean, it doesn't get any more. Well, you can't write a plot like this. This is real deal.
And I do wonder how history will paint.
Yeah. I think it'll depend on their success and victory. I think that in China, in mainland China, we already know how history will write it. I think, though, if Hong Kong gains their freedom, I think that the history books might paint it properly.
We be on? Well, we want to still be here tomorrow, so we'll keep it to a minimum.
So Britbot says, Michelle, in the UK, they are trying out facial recognition and are arresting people for covering their faces here too. Now, I was actually thinking as we were talking about this, how do we meld the idea that we have kind of been behind the laws that say that you can't cover your face in some of these more terrorist prone areas. You know what I mean? So like if you're Johnny and you're in China, you view these guys as terrorists. Mm-hmm. And because they're committing violence against property and police mm-hmm. and so on and so forth. So how do you draw the line?
5 demands, not one less. And here they are again with the
umbrellas. So it's obviously raining there right now. I mean, it looks wet. And so the umbrellas are useful to, I mean, besides
for the facial recognition.
Exactly. I know. But I'm just saying, can they tell you you're not allowed to carry an umbrella when it's raining? No.
Even though the anti-mask law purportedly exempts those who wear masks for professional or health reasons, Hong Kong police were seen harassing 2 journalists over their gas masks. Who said journalists can wear masks? Does the law grant you the privilege to wear a mask? Are you a police officer who is carrying out his duties? The reporter removes the mask. Another 2 reporters are also questioned by police. So I guess reporters are not exempt.
Wow.
After protesters on Saturday destroyed dozens of ATMs during a rampage across the city, the Hong Kong Association of Banks warned on Sunday that cash refills to certain banks and ATMs would likely be delayed. Even as protests died down elsewhere in the city, a hardcore group of radicals in Mongkok threw Molotov cocktails and police barricades and caused general mayhem in what can only be described as creative triumph for the protesters. Then we saw the catapult. And then, I guess, a handful of mask-clad demonstrators used bamboo scaffolding and countless zip ties to make a makeshift
So, Britt Boz says, Michelle, if people wear a burqa, they are allowed to walk past the facial recognition cameras, though, because of religious beliefs. Well, here's the issue that we have with that here in China, is that Muslims are taken to camps. You won't get the Muslim exemption in China.
Exactly.
You're not going to get it.
Exactly. You're not going to get it. As far as ATMs go, as Hong Kong ATMs run out of cash, central bank steps in to prevent public panic.
Oh, wow.
And that's the way, if you want to start public panic, the best, the only way to really do it is to make it so that there's no electricity. Because people really freak out when there's no electricity. And I'm not telling you to do that. I'm just saying that's where, like...
I don't think anyone that we have watching our show has the power to drop the grid.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that, like, if you want to shut something down, we've talked about the end of the world happening and, like, cash, food,
right.
But, like, it's really the electricity that's going to really throw everybody off if there's a apocalypse. As the violence in Hong Kong escalates with every passing week, culminating on Friday with what was effectively the passage of martial law when the local government banned the wearing of masks at public assemblies, a colonial era law that is meant to give authorities a green light to finally crack down on protesters at will. One aspect of the Hong Kong life seemed to be surprisingly stable. No, not the lack of local economy. Not the local economy, as Hong Kong retail sales just suffered its biggest drop in record. We're talking about the local banks, which have been remarkably resilient in the face of the continued mass protests, and that the ever-rising threat of violent Chinese retaliation which could destroy Hong Kong's status as the financial capital of the Pacific Rim in a heartbeat and crush the local banking system. In short, despite the perfect conditions for a bank run, the locals continue to behave as they didn't really care. Only now is that changing, because one day after a junior JP Morgan banker was beaten, we saw that in broad daylight. The SCMP report confirms that the social upheaval has finally spilled over into the financial world. According to the Hong Kong publication, the local central bank, the Hong Kong Monetary Authority, was forced to issue a statement warning against a malicious attempt to cause panic among the public. And while the de facto central bank stressed that the banking system remained robust, the banks were negotiating with logistic firms to refill these cash machines, as 5% of them had run out of money.
So here's what I'm curious about. So these cash machines have run out of money. Well, we have protests that are happening. So have they run out of money because the people that have the cash that normally go there can't get there because there's too many protesters?
Right.
Have they run out of cash because there has been a run on cash money because there is so much upheaval happening? Or have they run out of money because the banks don't have the money to put in them because there is an economic kind of instability or even potential collapse happening in Hong Kong because of the protests? I mean, there's 3 different scenarios there that could be a possibility.
So Lam had a video message, and of course, urging Hong Kongers to shun the protesters. However, one of the marchers, a 22-year-old, said she is making us a target, even though we are the ones fighting for our freedom as Hong Kongers. Masks hold an important symbol in Hong Kong. We used masks during the SARS, the severe acute respiratory syndrome outbreak in 2003.
I was going to ask about that. A lot of people in a lot of Asian countries
had to wear it.
They still do. They just kind of do, like, listen, I'm freaked out. There's germs. There's stuff that can happen. You see a lot of people that, for personal reasons, wear medical masks all the time.
Mm-hmm. And to protect ourselves against tear gas, it's a symbol of resistance, and you cannot take that away from us. It's a symbol of resistance for them. Early on Saturday, Secretary of Security made a similar appeal to the public to stop supporting the rioters. So I am going to just kind of leave this here. I'm going to just kind of monitor the situation as best as we can, because taking, outside without clear goals, without... they don't have a leader, and you're going to have these one-off people in the midst of their resistance, in the midst of their fight for independence, that are going to take things out of hand. However, they've decided, these Hong Kongers have decided, we don't want to be under Chinese rule. And I think that even by YouTube standards, even our government goes into places, they encourage the uprising in Venezuela. They encourage uprisings all over the world. This is not, and the reason we don't see America really getting involved, or the world getting involved, is because they're not involved, and they don't know what to do with an uprising against tyranny that they're not involved in, and they not don't controlling.
Well, hang on though. Actually, the actual word that you're looking for,
they didn't orchestrate.
No, they don't have a stake in it. All of these other countries that we look at, it's usually oil. It's usually gas. It's usually some sort of...
They don't get something out of it.
Exactly. So we're not going to have an intervention here in Hong Kong because it doesn't profit us to do so. It's really a showing of the hand. If you wanted to keep up the guys, America, UK... If you wanted to keep up the guys that, no, we're just doing this because it's humanitarian,
well, let me put it this way.
Then they would intervene here in Hong Kong.
Is the Chinese government a legitimate government? And in my eyes, they're not, because Chairman Mao, he started a revolution, and his revolution was as bloody as all get out, killing over 45 million people. And we're supposed to say, oh, well, now it's the government?
Yeah.
Now we're supposed to go with this Chinese takeover? I don't get it. And I don't get why we have to sit by and say, you know what? China has a legitimate claim over Hong Kong.
Right.
And if there are wars being fought all over this country, and it's okay to say, Libya is fighting in Saudi Arabia. If I talk about Libya fighting in Saudi Arabia, they're not going to take me off YouTube.
Chairman Mao was roughly like, what? How many, like 100 years ago?
Chairman Mao was in the 40s and 50s. This was not long ago. They just celebrated the 70th anniversary of the revolution.
Okay, so it's actually, this is perfect for my example here. We're looking at Israel, right? They are a state. They are a country, okay? And we've got the Palestinians that are still fighting for that land back. And we have people that are just so upset and their panties are in a wad because they can't stand the idea. And they still say that they have this rightful claim, 70 years later, 80 years later. And nobody's doing that to, like, China. Nobody's saying, well, we had this big takeover, okay? And now what we see that's totally different between Mao and Israel, I'm not trying to compare that, because we see that the whole world got behind Israel and said, okay, you need a place. This was awful that happened to you.
If the whole world put Chairman Mao into place for a safe refuge for Chinese people, and it was bloodless.
But why aren't these people that, like, even on our Resistance Chicks Facebook page, are these Bernie people that are obsessed with Palestine? Are they equally fighting for the Hong Kong people?
Communism. No, it's so weird.
Yeah.
It's so weird to me.
So we love you. God loves you. God bless. Remember, it's not just a conspiracy theory if it's actually the truth. So have a blessed rest of your Sunday. Praise the Lord. Go watch our video. Watch my video that I did. We had everything but money. It's in the video section. I really want to encourage you to watch that because I think it'll bless you as you go into this week. So, all right.
Your week. Bless your week off.
Bye, guys.
was cold.